I'm really early making this video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Hello beautiful people, how's it going? I'm back with another video, and my top 10 of the year has been a video that I've been sitting on for a while, and the reason was there was one movie on my watch list that I really wanted to watch because I had a sneaky suspicion that I was going to really enjoy it. Before I started today's video, I wanted to remind you of two things. I have not seen every movie that has come out this year. Another thing, just because I liked a movie in my review does not mean it makes it to my favorites of the year. I have had enough time to look back on all of the movies that I've seen this year and reflect on them, and I've figured out my top 10. These are movies that have either stuck with me or movies that I have rewatched multiple times. It is just my opinion. I'm not talking about the cinematography and the writing. I'm just talking about movies that I loved and movies that I continuously came back to and ones that have actually had an impact on me as a human being. So without further ado, let's get into my top 10 of 2023. Halfway through January. Coming in at number 10 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. When I tell you that the Reckoning was so dead in this movie, I am not a big action fan, and Tom Cruise has won me over with this film. Not because it was filmed in Abu Dhabi, my city, but because it was a really great film that had such amazing action sequences that had me and my mom gripped and so stressed the entire time. It is by far one of the best action movies that I've ever seen in my entire life, and I haven't seen a lot because I usually like movies with a little bit more substance unless they're fantasy. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. But Tom Cruise is amazing as Ethan Hunt. That is his name, right? Ethan Hunt. And the movie just works so well as an action, as a comedy, and it's dealing with a villain, which I won't spoil if you guys haven't seen it, that is really, really relevant to today's culture. And I think that's really great. And so Mission Impossible is number 10. Number 9 is kind of a sad choice for me, and that is Scream 6. I love the Scream franchise. I reacted to the first 4 on my channel with all of you beautiful people, and I'm so grateful for that. And Scream 6 is just a movie that I really love because I love plot twists, and they got me. I'm not going to spoil it, but Scream is my favorite slasher genre film. I really, really think that this new cast, which is why it makes me so sad, is really great, and I am really, really sad to see Melissa go. And I'm really sad to see Jenna Ortega go. But I'm not going to get political on my channel. You guys can obviously tell where I stand on that matter. I'm really curious to see how Scream 7 goes, but for what we got in Scream 6, the movie was intense, the movie made me laugh, the movie made me feel fear, and the movie gave me an amazing plot twist that I loved very much. Number 8 is one I know people are going to get mad at when they see my placement, but you know what? It's my video, it's my life, and it's my personal preference. Number 8 is Oppenheimer, The Trials of Oppie. When I first watched this movie, I actually didn't enjoy it until I watched Natalie Gold's reaction of it on her YouTube channel. I know you guys know who she is. She is phenomenal. And watching the movie condensed really made me appreciate it a lot more, and having Natalie kind of just speak about her opinions about it just really elevated my appreciation of the film. It made me appreciate it a lot more. And when I realized that the movie wasn't necessarily kind of making Oppenheimer look like a poor victim, I realized that, yeah, I do like this, because I myself do not see Oppenheimer as a victim. I see him as a really, really tricky person who's not necessarily a good person at all. In my second watch, I realized that Christopher Nolan wasn't really kind of belittling the things that Oppenheimer did. He was actually heightening it, and I'm not sure why I missed that the first time. And in doing so, made me appreciate the film a lot more. And because of that, I got to experience all of the amazing things that I couldn't necessarily enjoy the first time. For example, the music is something that I really listen to when I'm working, and for that, I mean, I just appreciate the movie, and I can see that everybody in this movie did an amazing job, especially Cillian Murphy, with an amazing performance that makes me feel like I should watch Peaky Blinders, but I still haven't watched Peaky Blinders, and I don't necessarily think I ever will. For my 7th choice, this is a movie that I implore you guys to go see if you haven't already. Download it, stream it, buy it, do whatever you can, because TMNT Mutant Mayhem is an amazing animated movie. You guys know I love fantasy, and I love these turtles. I grew up on the 90s movies of the Ninja Turtles. They're the live action ones. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but those were movies that my dad got me when I was really young, and they made me fall in love with Leonardo, Donatello. And it's so fun. And this film brings out the turtles in such a cool light because they are kids in this movie, and it really shows. And their dynamic is what made me love the film so much. And I adored the animation style. You guys need to prioritize TMNT. I loved it so much. It was one of the best movies I saw this year. I really, really did. And it's a movie that I continuously kept thinking about. And for that reason, and how well they just conducted these characters and they collaborated with one another, and their development in the story was just so amazing. And it's a movie that, you know, that there's an action sequence in this movie, there's a training montage that I just continuously look back on and enjoy. And I really think you guys should check it out. Coming in at number 6 is surprisingly another animated movie that I expected absolutely nothing from going into, and that is Pixar's Elemental. This is a really personal choice for me because this is a movie that celebrates the emotional man. And it's a movie that I wish I had when I was younger. It was a movie that I actually needed to make myself feel that I am who I am, and it's really great. And you know, a woman can love you for that, and trust me, they can. There is a silver lining, and this movie was it was a win for me because it is a love story between a really strong-willed woman and a really emotional man. And I loved that this movie showed that his strength lies in that emotion. I just loved it, and it's a movie that I needed when I was a kid, and so God bless Pixar for making a movie that celebrates that. It's one of those movies where I look back on it and I feel so bad that I didn't get to do a review for it because I wanted the movie to do well. And when I saw it and for opening weekend, it was flopping. And so I'm really glad that now it has almost passed 500 million at the worldwide box office. It had legs and the movie succeeded, and I am so happy because Pixar deserves that for what they put on display. I had never felt so seen in a movie in my life. I related to Wade, and I really hope you guys can check it out. It's a movie that I really stand by, support, and I just hope everybody who made it just has a wonderful day. This one's a bit of a doozy. Number 5 is Saltburn by director Emerald Fennell. I'm not sure I said her name right. I did not watch Promising Young Women, and I'm not sure if she's done any other film, but wow, this movie had me in a tizzy the entire time. I watched this film because I'm biased and I'm a Barry Keoghan fan. I met him at MEFCC 2022. Thank you guys for doing that. I went into this film expecting something and I got something else. And so I don't actually want to speak about the plot of the film. So what I will say is that this film is a masterclass in directing, in cinematography, in acting, and in plot. I can't say it, but there is something that happens in this movie that just blows my mind. There is a lot of gruesome, gory stuff and a lot of graphic sexuality, which I inherently disagree with. You can skip that stuff. I don't think it's essential. I'm sorry, call me a prude. I don't think it's essential. I think it's gross. But regardless of that, just the story is so captivating. And I love that it's a satire on the wealthy. And the way they do it is just amazing. Rosamund Pike is one of my favorite actresses of all time. Gone Girl is in my top 3 of all time. It's just a perfect film. And if you love black comedies and you love movies that really make you think and that stick with you and that kind of scar you for life in a funny way, you should check out Saltburn. It is phenomenal, and it is a movie that I 100% approve of, apart from the graphic stuff. Call me a prude. Coming in at number 4 is the Martin Scorsese movie of the year. The movie that really gripped audiences, that made you question your existence and your reality. The movie that essentially just made you kind of reflect on yourself and understand life in a different way. Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig. I'm so serious right now. People are fuming. People outside my door are trying to knock it down. I believe in what this movie is trying to say. This movie is a movie that celebrates humans. And it's also a movie that makes fun of humans, both male and female. Margot Robbie gives the performance of her life in this film. But ironically, for a movie about women, Ryan Gosling was my hero this year. Ken was everything to me, and the movie took over my life. Everything I saw was pink. Everything about this movie is perfect to me. I love toys. Look at my bedroom. And so a movie made about toys is something that I also feel is kind of linked with me. Everything I needed to say about Barbie, I said in my review, and I tried to phrase it as eloquently as possible. So if you guys can go check that out, if you want to know why I love it so much, that would would mean the world to me because it is a video that I'm very proud of. Very, very proud of. And it's something that I stand by. I've watched the movie 4 times now. I think I've actually seen it a 5th on digital, but I wasn't really focusing. Barbie is a win. It's a great comedy, and it has a lot of deeper layers to it. Total win for me, number 4 on my list. Number 3 is a bit of a tricky one for me because I despise Timothée Chalamet. Wonka. Wow. It's not that I have anything against Timothée Chalamet as a person. He seems like such a wonderful person, but I have never really watched a performance by him that captivated me and made me feel the hype that everybody else seems to feel about him until Wonka, where I officially became a Timothée Chalamet fan. This movie celebrates life. It's directed by the same man who did Paddington, and that's why I want to react to Paddington now, because apparently it has that same exact energy. I try to be a very positive person. And so a movie that celebrates love and happiness and joy and my favorite thing in the world, chocolate. It's perfect and it's made for me, and it's a movie that when you compare it to the previous iterations of Willy Wonka, even though it's not telling the same story, it's an origin, you feel the difference in a director's intention. If you want to make a movie about positivity, you can transform a character entirely, even transforming his motivations to make it, again, I don't want to spoil, but more positive than the Tim Burton one, which, yeah, I love Johnny Depp, but I also love Timothée Chalamet in this role. Wow. Number 2 is the reason that I held off on making this video. The Iron Claw. Wow. What a film. Truly, I really mean it. What a film. Zac Efron gives the performance of his life. I grew up on High School Musical, and because of that, my dad never respected Zac Efron. He couldn't take him seriously for years, even long after High School Musical ended. My dad walked out of this film, looked at me, and I asked him, "Are you still sick of Zac Efron?" And he looked at me and said, "Zac Efron is a real actor." The story about the Von Erichs is the craziest thing I have ever heard in my life. But regardless of that, the movie is so well directed, so well acted, cinematography is perfect, pacing is amazing, and the music is just brilliant. It is so wonderful seeing a drama movie that doesn't drag, that doesn't make you feel like you want to die. Even though the movie deals with such sad topics, you leave the theater feeling so hopeful, because that's what you're supposed to feel when you're traversed with tragedy after tragedy. It's what keeps you going. And Jeremy Allen White, one of my favorite actors ever. The Bear is a whole other conversation when we speak about my favorite shows of the year. The Iron Claw is the movie that I would implore everybody to go see, because it is a drama film with a budget of 16 million. 16 million to make such an amazing film. Go see this film. Support it. It's a true story that will blow your mind by how sad and tragic it is. But the movie isn't that bad. It makes you feel hope at the end, and it's so well directed, so well acted. The pacing is amazing. Just go see this movie. Iron Claw is a 10 out of 10. My number 1 choice may surprise some people until you go back and watch my review for it, because this is the film that stuck with me the longest this year, and I keep rewatching it, and it still hits. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I hated the Guardians before I watched this film. If you look at my MCU ranking video that I did a year ago, or maybe a bit over a year ago, I ranked the Guardians movies low because I watched those films in theaters and I just did not care. I even liked Guardians 2 more than Guardians 1. And so I went to see Guardians 3 with little to no explanations, even though I love James Gunn. The Suicide Squad is my favorite DCEU film, and I was mind blown by the amazing message that this movie holds about animal cruelty. It was done so perfectly, and people always tell you that, oh no, it's just the rocket stuff. No, it's the entire film. There are so many things in the movie, for example, Cosmo, or even Adam Warlock with the pet thing. The movie is repeatedly talking to you about animal cruelty, and I love a movie that has a message and portrays it in a way that is so convincing and tugs on your heartstrings, makes you emotional. This movie had the biggest emotional reaction for me in a theater this year. More than the Iron Claw, where if you've seen the movie, real life tragedy occurs. Guardians to me is exactly what a superhero film should be. It's a movie that is fun and comedic, but it also packs a huge punch and has a message to share. This is the superhero content that I want to see. I want to be enlightened while I'm enjoying a popcorn flick, and I want to be attached to these characters. Every single day, I miss Mantis and Drax and Rocket and Peter and Gamora and Nebula because they felt like my family by the end. Not to mention Groot. I'm sorry, I forgot Groot. I miss my Guardians. And honestly, it's a great film. If you haven't seen it, please give it a chance. It's a really, really good film. It made over $800 million at the box office. Big win for James Gunn. I loved this film. And honestly, this was a great year for movies. Honorable mentions: Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Love that film. The Boogeyman was a good movie that nobody really spoke about, but I really enjoyed. Megan was also really cool. I liked that film. I would mention Creed, but I was just offended by Sylvester not even being mentioned in that movie. That just offended me. I think that's pretty much everything I've seen. I haven't seen that one movie where the flowers and the moons get killed. So I don't know. Again, I haven't seen it. I also haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, which I really have to, but again, I want to react to it. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about my top 10 movies of the year. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this movie. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all so much, and I'll see you next time. I'm gonna go to bed. Bye, guys.